up, folks? Sean, the average angler, and let me get these out of my ears. We've got a video today that's going to kind of go along with right where we're at in the fishing season. And December's always been a tough month for me. The fish are transitioning, the water's getting down to that temperature where the fish really don't like it. Makes them a little uncomfortable. Sometimes we have to do things we don't really want to do to get bit. Now for me, I go fishing to catch. Okay, I'll be honest. I'm not the guy that just wants to go out there and just, hey, it's great being out here. And it is. I go fishing to catch. Okay, I got to work all week. When I go out there, I want to catch something. And I expect to catch something. It's that time of year where sometimes the fish aren't really that interested in chasing. Sometimes the fish are really pressured and become very difficult to get to bite. This also happens with cold fronts. You have a big cold front come through, it can shut the fish down. Highly pressured bodies of water, okay, can do the same thing. Pressure can do the same thing, especially this time of year. It doesn't mean that those popular community holes, those fish just up and left there. That's not what happened. They're just becoming harder to fool. So you need to do something that gets them to bite. One thing I will say, a lot of times it's timing. Timing has a lot to do with it. So this is how I approach these situations. Number one, it's important to graph. Know your areas that you're gonna fish, know your spots, and then when you start fishing, rotate between them. And what we're trying to do is intercept that time when those fish become a little bit more willing to eat. Now they still need to eat, just like us, they still gotta eat, right? They need to eat to live, and at some point they're going to eat. I'm rigging a bait here for you, just so I don't have to do it all as we move along. Typically when these situations come up, look, I don't wanna fish slow. I tend to want to throw reaction, throw swim baits of some sort, whether it's an underspin or whether it's a 7-inch citizen. I want to keep moving. I want to create a reaction strike. Well, sometimes that's just not in the cards. And if you want to catch fish, you need to do what the fish want. So for days like that, and especially cold front days, bluebird, wintertime, tends to be a little bit tough. I've been fishing on Sundays. Sundays tend to be a little tougher because, you know, Saturdays you get a little bit more traffic, Sundays more traffic, and the fish get tuned in to the weekend. The fishermen are here. What I do, notice I didn't say I like to do it, but what I do like catching fish, is I'm gonna downsize, okay? So when I break out the Ned rig, this is a little ball head, owner ball head, right? Weedless. Now weedless is very important to me because of where I'm throwing. The open hook's gonna snag a lot, okay? So I like the weedless. I like the Bass Union. This owner will work, okay? I had these handy, so I just grabbed these. This is what it is right here. Owner 3/16 ounce weedless ball head. And the other one I like to use for one of the other baits, we'll get to that, okay? Let's go over the Ned rigs first, okay? This happens to be a Yamamoto, what do they call it? Ned Senko floater, okay? You'll see the color there, good looking color. It is called Watermelon Magic, okay? I like watermelons, I like green pumpkins. That type of thing is my general color for this time of year. If it's dirty water and I need to go to black blue, I'm going to probably spend more time with a jig just because it's dirty. I think they'll eat something a little bulkier. But this is the Xzone Ned Zone 3-inch bait, okay? Little different. You'll see the Yamamoto just a tad longer. Let's call them both 3-inch. They claim it's 3-inch. The original Ned bait, TRD, is 2 3/4 inches, okay? And while I like them, I've actually done better with a little bit bigger bait. There it is, you'll see there. Little longer bait tends to work better for me. And this one, I will fish on the Frenzy nail. Okay, in my videos, you'll hear me talk a lot about the Frenzy nail. It is a phenomenal stand-up shaky head. Excellent hook. I fish it on spinning or casting. Either way, the hook's strong enough for casting, sharp enough to get the hook penetration without any issue on spinning rod. Okay, most of the time the spinning rod I'm throwing braid to leader. Typically I'm going to throw 10-pound leader, 10-pound sunline fluorocarbon. It's pretty thin, strong. It works for me and it gets bit. Okay, but this worm here is one of my favorites. Okay, that's a Zman Fatty Z, Fatties, whatever, Fatty Z. Again, I'm going to go with watermelon, green pumpkin type colors. I just like to keep it natural this time of year. And honestly, all times of year for me, my watermelon, my green pumpkin, purples, those kinds of things, is I keep it simple. I've got a lot of different colors. My wife will tell you all the time, you don't need to buy more baits. You have plenty of baits on the wall. Well, a lot of times those are other colors from when I used to think it really mattered. And not to say you can't really dial in a color, but these work for me every day. Every day I get to fish, these colors work. Okay. Now, I do find it important to use a floating bait. All of these I showed you float. I want that bait to stand up. And even as you see, this rig here has a slight angle up. And this Yamamoto, one, it moves really well. Senko, right? Typical Senko action, a little undulation. But it's gonna stand up from the looks of this head, about like so. Now the Frenzy nail is gonna stand up more like this, okay? Which is part of the reason I really like the Frenzy nail. Plus it goes through rock really well. A lot of my viewers are familiar with the Frenzy nail and use it. I think they'll vouch for it, okay? So get out there and graph, find these spots. I'm looking for hard spots. Look for hard spots around points, hard spots around creek channels, around bends. Look, I found some great ones just down a straight bank, and you find a small rock let's call it a formation. Doesn't have to be a pile. It could be somewhere where there's some rock around the bottom and it's in that depth where you're seeing fish. Now the ultimate time to catch them is when the bait comes in, okay? That will really fire them up, makes them a little bit more careless, and they will bite a little bit better. You can pick them off much faster when it's like that, but they will still bite if you throw something like a small net in there and bring it through them slowly. Just shake the slack in your line a little bit, bring it through slowly. They will eat it. They are fish, they are opportunistic feeders. I can't reiterate it enough. It is important this time of year to take the time to spend some time graphing. If you're spending a lot of time on the same body of water, maybe you got 8, 10, 12 spots you can rotate between. That's great. That's what you want. If you're not fishing the same body of water and it's new to you, go out and find some of these places. High percentage spots, and then start rotating through them. And sooner or later, you will intercept those fish. So we're gonna kind of fish fast, but fish slow, right? You're gonna bounce around between spots. You're gonna make a few good casts into the heart of this stuff, work it through there slowly. If you don't get bit, move on. We're gonna come back. You wanna keep moving. We're gonna intercept them at some point. We're gonna have a good day. Sean the Average Angler, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.